But let's begin with the massive undertaking Canada is preparing for, the biggest immunization in its history. Major General Dany Fortin has been tasked to lead the distribution of millions of doses of vaccine. We reached him in Ottawa. Welcome to the program. Major General Fortin, Alberta's premier has said that he expects to receive vaccine January 4th. A lot of people are wondering how he can be so precise. Have those details been shared with the provinces?
Well, we're in constant conversation with provinces and territories and departments and agencies that deal with the vaccine rollout. The Vaccine Rollout Task Force here at the Public Health Agency has been leaning into this problem for some time. The logistics of it all is quite demanding, as you would expect. But we're planning against several assumptions. The vaccines, the first vaccines, will be ready in January. In
January
tranches
4th, though, Major General, I just want some clarity. Is that a number he would have gotten from your hub?
Well, we said early January. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to speak on behalf of the Premier, but I think it's a reasonable assumption to base ourselves against. If you recall, some of the things that I said yesterday was we're lining up to be ready by mid-December, mm-hmm. so that adjustments can be made, and we're really for the rollout in January.
So let's dive into that, because I think there are a lot of things that Canadians might like to understand better. We know from Dr. Sharma from Health Canada, she said she expects the Pfizer vaccine is going to get approval in roughly a week, but then you folks are talking about January. So is what happens after approval, presuming we get it for Pfizer, you're essentially waiting a matter of weeks, perhaps even longer, until Pfizer can deliver those doses?
Not at all. So vaccines will be distributed to Canadians, mm-hmm. when we receive the regulatory approval. That's what you're speaking to, mm-hmm. and when they arrive in country.
But I'm wondering about that lag between approval and arrival. We're expecting that to be weeks worth of lag?
Well, not necessarily. There's a number of factors being looked at, but it would not be prudent planning on my part and on the part of the team here if we did not plan against some reasonable assumptions, but also plan for what if the best case is that we get an early approval earlier than anticipated. So something along the lines that have now been shared, mm-hmm. And that we get access to vaccines, maybe different vaccines earlier. As you can appreciate, it's moving quite rapidly. Mm-hmm. So we're paying very close attention to that and continue to adjust our plans and cater for the different opportunities and different mitigations.
Let's dig into those plans. You have said that there will be dry runs happening across the country on Monday. Mm-hmm. Help me understand what that looks like. If I was in a room watching a dry run at, let's say, a vaccine reception site, what would I actually see?
Well, you probably wouldn't see a whole lot initially. Mm-hmm. Because this is an unprecedented situation and a very different distribution, a very different type of vaccine than anything that we've seen before. Mm-hmm. We want everyone at echelon, the practitioners, the logisticians, those who will handle the distribution, Pfizer included in the case mm-hmm. of the Pfizer vaccine. We want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with the process of ordering and delivery to the point of use. Mm-hmm. So that is what we're exercising this week.
So that sounds like quite technical to me. Is there a physical element to this as well, or it's really just making sure that everybody's talking to one another?
So there are, I'll say boxes for simplicity, but there, as an order is placed, a fake order is placed, mm-hmm. the whole process kicks in, and Pfizer will deliver a box. We'll take a box from a location. Everything will be tracked. We'll get to the different nodes that Pfizer controls, down to the 10 points of use that have been identified as the 10 of the 14, so one per province, mm-hmm. that have been identified as the initial ones.
And are they places like hospitals, like are they military bases? I know you won't say precisely what the sites are, but what kinds of sites are we talking about? The
sites have been identified by the provinces, so I'm not going to disclose those locations just yet. That's really their space to talk about. But there will physically be a box mm-hmm. that has no vaccines. Mm-hmm. But people will become comfortable with the process of handling that with dry ice, all the precautions that need to be taken, all the things that have to be done, so that we all learn as a result. And over the course of the week, starting on the 7th, although people will go through those steps at various speed and timings across the province as they receive this material.
Okay, I know our time with you is precious, Major General. I also want to ask, how likely is it that soldiers will actually be the ones doing the injections in at least some communities in your contingency planning?
Well, it's not part of my contingency planning here at the PHAC. We're really responsible to help to organize the delivery.
Okay.
Now, the Canadian Armed Forces are conducting prudent planning, and the regional joint task force across the country are linked in with their provincial counterparts, and they're planning on a number of contingencies. Now, should there be an issue with capacity at different levels, provinces, territories, there are multiple tools at the disposal of governments, provincial, territorial, as well as federals, and those will be investigated.
Okay, the last question I want to ask you before we let you go, I just want to know, what is keeping you up at night right now? What is the sort of worst case scenario that you are trying to guard against?
The unknown. And we're paying a lot of attention to illuminating all the possible risks and look at mitigations. And
like what?
We have professionals looking at all kinds of things, from physical security to weather impacting distribution across the Canadian landscape, at the time at which things become available, and ensuring that this is done as smoothly as possible. My focus is really to do my part as part of a public health agency with our team to deliver vaccines to Canadians as rapidly as possible, and most importantly, as safely as possible. Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be part of the show, and I'll provide more information in the next week as the Track 2 as it becomes available.
We
Thank
look
you very
forward
much.
to that additional information. Thank you very much, Major General.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.